we're getting ready to start the forms for the cast concrete countertops. We're going to use melamine. It's going to have about a 2-inch overhang. It's a little more than I feel real comfortable with, but it's how much we need to get over the top of the rocks. We're gonna support the bottom side with 2x4s while we do the molding process. Storm just rolled through here, so we're drying everything out a little bit, but glad we didn't have the mold on yet. We'll get those forms on and then hopefully are pouring to tomorrow morning. All right, so what we're doing here is putting a support 2x4. We're gonna have, like I said before, 2 inches of overhang, but this melamine isn't really strong, and there's going to be a fair amount of concrete sitting on top of it. So to make sure it's good and level, this 2x4, we're just screwing it up across the front, and it will hold the melamine. I'm going to take I'm going to take brad nails and nail that down, and then go back over and caulk all that. And then to break the mold away, we're just going to undo these screws and hopefully pull the whole thing off. I've never done this before, I'll be honest with you. So here, see this overhang right here?
Yep.
I didn't think that it would actually matter, but it does, because there's a vertical piece that has to come across here. The blessing being, I missed it by exactly a 1/2 inch, so it fits. See this tear out? That's what you want to avoid. So now I have to go back in and re-drill all of these holes. Got the mold up, or the forms up. Now it's from a reinforcement standpoint. And I'm going to try hog fence. It's a little thick, but I think it'll give plenty of support. Plus, we had it around. I'm going to try some tricks that I haven't seen anybody do so far to kind of center it in the mold. We got to get this bow out of it, but other than that, I think it should work pretty well to offer a bunch of reinforcement to this countertop. Alright, we've finished up day 3. We are ready to pour. We got to put the screen back in once the silicone dries, but we are ready to pour the countertops tomorrow morning. We dodged some raindrops all day, but everything stayed dry and we're ready to go. Morning, everybody. Day 4, I think it is. Make or break day this morning. We're going to pour these countertops. First time I've ever done this. Watched a lot of video. I know a lot of you out there have done this. We're going to learn along the way, but you know, kind of get one shot with things like this. So it's about 8 this morning. We're going to pour this one first, see how things go, and then move over to the other one. We have enough concrete to do one. We'll figure out how many bags we need, and then we can go get some more this afternoon. But fingers crossed.
So in the spirit of not making this video too terribly long, here's a shot of what the right side looked like. Yeah, the concrete was a little too wet and maybe it wasn't quite as flat as we had hoped, but in general we were very pleased with how everything turned out. The left side of the fireplace as well as the hearth followed very similar approaches to pouring.
Hey everyone, we're out here on the next day. The concrete on the countertops is dried. This concrete takes between 18 and 24 hours to cure. And now's the moment of truth. I'll admit I'm a little terrified. We gotta take these forms off and see what surprises we have underneath. The top looks pretty good. I'm very happy with this. We spent much of the night last night wetting this down about every 15 minutes to a half hour, just trying to slow the curing time down as much as we could. But like I said, now's the moment of truth. We take these forms off and we'll see what we have underneath. So thankful we put duct tape over the screw heads. As you can see, all this concrete that ran down, while some of it chips off the melamine, had that gotten in the screw head, there's no way we'd have been able to back these out and getting
So through the magic of video editing, let's fast forward a few weeks. We wanted to show you how we finished the concrete countertops. Ignore the stone, ignore the mantle, ignore the rack in the fireplace. We'll get to those soon enough. But we wanted to show you a little bit of background of how we finished our concrete countertops. So we got the tuck pointing almost complete. Now we're turning over to the countertops. We're gonna kind of polish them. We want to make sure that they have a good smooth finish on the top, but we're not looking for super shiny. There's going to be some imperfections. We're just kind of looking to take that rough concrete feel off the top, and we'll end up sealing them with high gloss or at least wet seal concrete sealer. But first we got to knock some of the edges down and get things polished up. So we'll show you how we do it. So to speak a little bit of the process, what we're using there is a 50 grit diamond impregnated sanding disc attached to a 4-inch disc grinder. The water that we're using is what you use to keep the disc cool, because without it, the binding agent for the diamond would melt. It may have happened to us eventually. The problem with the water, while it does a great job at cooling the sanding disc, it makes a slurry of water and very fine concrete dust that stains the stone. The biggest thing I would change on this entire project, were we to do it over again, was that I would have polished all of the concrete before we put the stone on. While I won't make a video about it, there were several hours spent scrubbing and spraying and washing and scrubbing and spraying and washing the fake stone to get the streaks of the cement slurry off of them. Generally speaking, we're very happy with how things turned out. Not polished to perfection, but a good smooth surface and a little character left behind.
Some video to show the comparison between what it looks like polished and what it looks like with the as poured finish. So we have another one on the other side that get a little bit further along. There's a drip to show you kind of what the water or the wet look will be like. As we look back at the concrete countertops, let's talk a little bit about the things that worked and the things that didn't. As far as things that worked, and I've mentioned it before, but that cement mixer that we have proved once again to be invaluable. Saved our back, it helped us get consistent results, and it helped the process be much more efficient. As for things that didn't work so well, and I mentioned it earlier in the video, we should have polished the concrete before we put the stones on. There was a ton of time wasted scrubbing stones, cleaning off that slurry, and making things look the way we want them to look. But all in all, we're very pleased with how things happened, how things turned out, and what things look like. And in the next video, the firebox arrives, and we'll start actually making progress towards completing the fireplace.